I know it's been forever since I've blogged, and everything always seems to be like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, and I never get this done. So I thought I would do one tonight, and I wanted to do something that I've been wanting to do for probably 6 months now, and it's a compare and contrast over 2 books that came out this summer that I know a lot of people were eagerly waiting to read. The first one being Sweet Valley Confidential. See both twins there. And this is supposed to be 10 years later. I don't know, did the series end 10 years ago? It's been a long time since I had stopped reading it. Here's the back, and I love this comment that I had read was, Jessica turned out to be Heidi Montag. Okay. And then the other one is a little more recent, but it's also basically 10 years later, and it's Sisterhood Everlasting by Amber Shears. It's the last book in the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants stories. And I wanted to talk about compare and contrast just because I found them to be real opposites. The Sweet Valley High book, both of them I had read spoilers before I started reading them. The Sweet Valley High book was like, the author evidently never wrote them all on her own, and it showed. I thought about it one time, just going, oh, this is where she made a mistake, this is where she made a mistake, this is where she made a mistake. But I don't have the time to do that. And it was in, one a chapter. Bruce was suddenly a junior like the twins, except he was a senior. Aaron was a senior, non-junior, and then, oh my gosh, he's gay and dating Steven. I'm serious? That was weird. And then they went into this whole tangent at the end about how gay marriage should be legal in California. There was several other swipes about how Enid's now right-wing, and she's a gynecologist. I'm assuming we're supposed to read in that she was anti-abortion. But it only said that she was a wingnut who no one could stand to be around. So there are several things throughout there that it was very much just Francine Pascal's political opinions, and that her assumption, I guess, that only those who agree with her were the ones reading the books. The characters hadn't really developed. Jessica was a complete flake. The later series, the senior year one, she developed a little bit more, but she was just reacting. Elizabeth was decided she was grown up, and she just cursed a lot. That's how she was grown up. That just kind of bothered me because it was words that I don't use, and I can't figure out how to say it. It was excessive. Oh my gosh. This, and that doesn't make you a grown up. And I don't know how that's supposed to prove it. Try not to get spoilers here. And it was just, I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like a soap opera where everyone dates everyone and it's very intertwined. But the whole Jessica marrying Todd, it was just like, really, that's how you want to end the series. Or I guess it's going to start again, but it was bizarre because I don't think there was any hint. It wasn't satisfying. And then Elizabeth ends up with Bruce, and they have an orgasm, which she thinks people are upset because Elizabeth has sex. I think the part that bothered me was the fact that she waited and she waited and she waited in college. The one thing I thought at the time as I was reading it was that the authors themselves had not, and they didn't know how to write somebody who waited, what her reasons would be, because it was just always very shallow. And now she's sleeping around. And that's also, I guess, to prove how she's matured. I'm still not sure that sleeping around makes you mature. So she did that, but then at the end she sleeps with Bruce and said something about, well, that had never happened while she was conscious. Echoing back to how Bruce tried to date rape her in one of the first books in the series. I'm not sure why that's a joke. That just, I guess because they became friends or whatever, but it was just, the whole thing was kind of like that. It was just like, really? I think you're going through edgy and you just end up as offensive. So that bothered me. I had been waiting and waiting and waiting for it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like this at all. And it actually kind of ruins a lot of the reading I did as a child because I know how it ends up. The next one was Sisterhood Everlasting. I'm not sure who is supposed to be on the cover. I'm thinking maybe Tibby, but Tibby in a dress doesn't seem like the other books. Or is it's even important. I had read all the books in the past few years, saw the first movie, and then ended up reading all the books. Really liked the books. And actually this book, there's going to be spoilers here too. Sorry! It was 10 years later, and I had read before that Tibby dies in the beginning. Which I was prepared for. I had read several comments where people were shocked and very upset. And I could see that, especially if you had not known it going in, and how it was unrealistic. I don't know if that's pairing your twin sister's boyfriend is unrealistic. Having a friend contract an illness and die, unfortunately, probably a little more realistic. But I went through their plots. Good news, Kostos, not the stalker he was in some of the previous books, because he really, truly, I wanted to get a restraining order against him in, I guess, the fourth book, I think. And he seemed to go back to the guy that I think he was supposed to be. In the second movie, I liked more how he came across. He didn't come across quite the stalker. Missed Eric in the second movie. Bridget's still with Eric, and she finds out she's pregnant, and she kind of goes on this journey across the U.S. and Australia. It's a little disappointing in that, but at the same time, after having this being the fifth book, this is how Bridget reacts. So I found that to be a little believable. Let's see, to be dead, married Brian, had a kid. Would have liked to see a little more of her just in the beginning or end, because I don't know if we truly understood quite everything. I was going through her mind. And her kid may have been one of those children that's just like wonder kid, child, way developed beyond her age. And that is, I saw somebody write in a review in that of another book, and that bugs me a little bit. So that was in there. But Carmen, nice. So Carmen ended up with a guy. She just never seems to have one. And there are some of the things I could get, but it seemed like they could go deeper with her. But I really enjoyed the book. It felt like I was reading about the people I had read about previously, but who had grown up some, though they still had the same characteristics. If you're going to read one of the books, read that one. And it just seemed like they didn't have any points where the author all of a sudden threw something at you that you're going, that didn't happen. And I appreciated that, because I'm not an idiot, and I read this, or I liked the book, and I know other people out there have done so. And so disrespecting the reader doesn't seem like good to me, and it felt like that's what happened in the Sweet Valley High book. I'm trying to think of anything else that I've remembered about the book, because I've been thinking about this for 6 months, but then I forgot. I wanted, yeah, that's, I think, about it. So tell me, have you read either of them? What did you think of them? Christmas is coming in a few days. Got any plans? I like comments. And I should probably try to make an effort to look better or do this more often. But it just never seems to happen, and I always apologize for this, and I don't know what to do about it. If you want to give me some ideas as to how to organize my life better, that's some more comments. So I'll touch you later. Maybe tell you how Christmas went, because I'll have a couple days off. Maybe I'll get some more done.